Adjectives are more than just describers of nouns. They are the essence of our society. Adjectives are the difference between my house and yours. Adjectives allow me to paint a beige wall blue, and they give me the ability to have two pieces of pie. In Latin grammar, adjectives come in two main groups, those that have first and second declension endings, and those that have third declension endings. This video will address adjectives of the first and second declension. Adjectives describe nouns. In grammar, we use the term modify because they give more information and change to some extent a noun. Because adjectives modify nouns, each adjective in Latin must agree with its noun in case, number, and gender. These are the big three characteristics of nouns, case, number, and gender, and you can think of it this way. Say we have this basic sentence, Puella puerum amat. The girl loves the boy. If we wanted to describe the girl with, say, an adjective like beautiful, we would give the adjective the same case, number, and gender as the noun puella. Since puella is feminine, that's obvious, nominative, it's the subject of amat, and singular, there's only one, then our adjective must also have the feminine nominative singular form, here pulchra. If we wanted to describe the boy with, say, an adjective like silly, we would again give this adjective the same case, number, and gender as puerum. Since puerum is masculine, it's a boy, so of course that's the gender. Accusative, it's the object of amat. And singular, there's only one. Then our adjective must also have the masculine accusative singular form. So, stultum. So our new sentence, puella pulchra, puerum stultum amat. Now you can think of the subject of the verb amat as not just the puella, but as the puella pulchra. These two words together are nominative, singular, and feminine. And the object of the verb amat is not just the puerum, but puerum stultum. And these words together are accusative, singular, and masculine. Since an adjective like pulchra or stultum has to be able to describe a masculine, feminine, or even a neuter noun, adjectives have endings in all three genders. And since an adjective has to be able to describe singular or plural nouns, then there are singular and plural forms. And since an adjective has to be able to describe a noun in any of the 5 cases, I'm leaving out the vocative case for this video since adjectives follow the regular rules for the vocative case, then there are nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, and ablative forms. In all, an adjective will have 30 different forms, and that's a lot. Luckily, Latin has an easy solution. I told you before that this video is about first and second declension adjectives. If you remember the first declension for nouns, the A declension, most of the words in this declension are feminine. So we are going to use the first declension endings for our feminine forms of the adjective. The second declension for nouns, the US and ER declension, has mostly masculine words. So we are going to use second declension masculine endings for our masculine forms. And then there's the second declension neuter endings. These will be our neuter forms. So let's look at an adjective like bonus aum. We list each adjective like this, with the masculine form first. Notice that this form ends in a US, like the second declension. Then next is the feminine form, that's the A, and the third one is the neuter ending, the UM. All adjectives will be listed in this way, the masculine, then the feminine, and then the neuter. Here's the declension of bonus in the singular. Notice that the masculine form has endings identical to the second declension masculine, us, I, o, o. The feminine has the first declension endings, a, I, a, and the neuter has second declension neuter endings, I, o. The plural forms of these are likewise identical to the first and second declensions. I, orum, is, os, is for the masculine, I, arum, is, as, is for the feminine, and a, orum, is, a, is for the neuter. So again, remember that we want to use an adjective in the same case, number, and gender as the noun it describes. So to say good times, you would say tempora bona. The good men, as the subject, viri boni. And the good women, again, as the subject in the nominative case, puellae bonae. If, however, the good women are receiving the action and are in the accusative case, we would change both the noun and adjective, puellas bonas. So perhaps you've noticed that often the adjective will have the same ending as the noun, espuelas bonas both end in an AS. And that will sometimes happen, but it's not always going to be the case. No pun intended. The word farmer is first declension, but masculine. So the nominative form of good farmer is agricola. That's the first declension nominative singular ending. But for the adjective, we use the masculine nominative singular form, bonus. If we're going to make this plural, we again use the masculine form for bonus, agricolae boni, the good farmers. And to make this accusative plural, it's agricolas bonos. The same thing happens if we want to describe a third, fourth, or fifth declension noun with a first or second declension adjective. So the good gladiators, masculine, in the nominative would be gladiatores boni, and the accusative gladiatores bonos. A fourth declension word like manus, which happens to be feminine, would be manus boni in the nominative plural, and manus bonas in the accusative plural. A fifth declension word like res, which is feminine, would be res boni in the nominative plural, and res bonas in the accusative plural. You will also come across first and second declension adjectives that end in an er in the masculine, like pulcher, pulcra, pulcrum. These follow the same rules as er nouns of the second declension, like puer. For all of these, we look to the feminine form of the er adjective. Here, pulcra tells us that we drop the e before the r in every single form, other than the masculine nominative singular. Our stem is pulchr, P-U-L-C-H-R. So the masculine genitive singular for pulcher is pulcri, and we continue to drop the e out of every single form, masculine, feminine, and neuter. We can do the same analysis for an adjective like miser, misera, miserum. Here, because the feminine misera shows that the e is kept before the r, our stem is miser, M-I-S-E-R. Notice that all forms of this adjective keep the e before the r. For er adjectives, always be sure to look to the feminine form of the adjective to identify the stem. The masculine one can be misleading, and you should never trust it. I guess that's true with life. Always trust the feminine form. She knows where it's at.